second. Waiting on YouTube and Instagram. YouTube is loading up and waiting on Instagram. Looks like we're live on Instagram. Just give us another hot second for
You mean
YouTube. Instagram. Yeah, we are live, sir. Good morning, Jake. Welcome to episode 128, Making Turbo. I'm on page 26, by the way, out of our 28 pages for the first issue of Turbo Pit Fighter.
Page 26. Yeah. So
26
what page is the next? What page is the next teaser plateau?
That was something I did want to kind of talk about with you.
We go to 612, then isn't it 18?
Yeah, but I have a question. I have secured us a table at IC3, March of 2025, 15th of March to be specific, in Hartford, Connecticut. And
that's the Ides of March.
There you go. What do you think are the chances of us actually having issue 1 in a formulation where we could do like a teaser, like not even worry about it being something that's going to, X, Y, and Z, publisher, Kickstart, whatever it is, but literally
I would,
get to the, how do you feel? How do you feel about that?
I wouldn't want to impose a deadline like that. March 15th to finish the whole thing. I wouldn't. First of all, I don't think I can get to it. But second of all, I don't want to pressure. I want to make the comic, take our time, and that Creative Con is going to be around the year after, and the year after, and there's going to be a lot of other cons.
That's very true.
So, but if we did kind of leapfrog the last 6 pages, we're not just trying to encapsulate every time we get 6 pages inked, right?
Well, my goal right now has been to get the 80% inking of all 28 pages done, and then go back to page 13 through, let's say, 19. So that would be the next, up to 19 would be the first 19 pages, right? Is that right? So 18 pages. Sorry, yeah, it'd be the 18.
Right. So, I mean, if we're if our plan was to come out with teasers regularly, then doing the 80% inking far ahead seems like we're not trying to do the teasers as regularly as we want, and that is fine with me. I just, whatever the plan is, I thought we were doing that for a reason, but the last teaser we came out with was kind of like a stopping point, because I was also wondering maybe about putting some backup features in the next teaser, and the possibility of that. Right, that's because we do have some 6-pagers that are scripted, and so that's off the ground if we do find, or if I commission an artist to do pencils and or inks, and then maybe we do the word balloons, or they do the word balloons. But either way, I could see that, being a model for the next teaser, so that it's a little more substantial. On the other hand, that could kind of detract from the later premiere of Turbo #1, because now you're getting 18 pages. That's more than half the book, right?
So Talking teaser.
Options. What's that?
Yeah, yeah. I said talking teaser. One of the things that I've been really putting around in my head is, I love the whole anthology concept. In other words, you get, a good decent amount of pages, 36 or more, let's say, greater than a standardized 28-page comic book. But there are these other pieces of material, whether it's articles or illustrations, pinups,
I like to
prose
call them
story
zine pages.
illustrated.
Yeah, I mean, we
Yeah,
have so much
all I'm saying
writing
is, I,
at this point.
I am losing. I'm losing more and more of my focus on a full issue comic made, and thinking about building uh, um, assets, as we've talked before about, the coming of AI, and how we're going to be moving now from content to assets, but our assets to be able to maybe even start timing out these teasers slash anthology, you know, comics. So then, we get to a point where we then say, you know what? I mean, we have issue one inked and pretty much ready to go with lettering and stuff. But we also have all this other, great stuff that we have going on. So what do we have going? And the way I would propose it to you, Jake, or sell it to you is that the teaser from here on out slash anthology would be called Doom Mags. And then, so once we reached, we could even get the rest of the pages for issue one. That would be pages 19 to, let's say, 20. What would that be? 19 to 24. That would be another Doom Mags teaser. And then, we would be then 4 pages away from, then releasing the entire issue one of Turbo Teaser. But I'm really liking and enjoying the anthology. And especially too, once again, to sell you on it is the amount of truly awesome just written material and conceptual sketches that you're hammering out, and they're going on Substack. Can we step back and just look at all the material in a different way than we're making a comic book, we're making issue one, it's going to be 28 page, that type of thing.
Well, I don't know who's talking in that voice, that Peckerwood voice, but
That's
so I
salesman's
mean,
voice.
folks, welcome to Turbo Pit Fighter. This is two creators making a post-apocalyptic sci-fi story. I'm working on page 21, the pencils of issue 2, so I'm way ahead into the future. And Kurt is finishing up in issue 1, 6 pages at a time, or whatever, however you want to look at it. And we already put out a 6-page teaser, which was just kind of like a Xerox release, and then we put out a 12-page teaser, which expanded into 16 pages, including pinup covers and some bonus material launching our Substack. And now we're at a plateau, and we are live discussing the possibilities for what to do next. Now, if we serialize the pages, the next 6 or 12 pages, the big question is, do we then repeat the first 12, right, and make it a more substantial book? I mean, I don't know, at some point, like, our couple of dozen fans, however many we sold, they're not going to keep buying 6 and then 12 and 18 unless there's something new, and then potentially collectible or something. But I do like the idea of anthology. I'm just kind of considering what we do with the Turbo material, because if
Correct.
we keep putting it out, like usually the Japanese model of weekly anthologies in low cost newsprint, and then getting some buzz and everything. There's like strength in numbers where you're doing that with dozens of other artists in a
Yeah,
400-page volume every week,
yeah,
Shonen Jump, right? And there are many competitors. So for us, it's a little different. Like we would be either xeroxing or quick printing, which isn't cheap, and and putting some stuff out. But I think we're still in promotional mode. You know, but the other thing that Kurt just brought up is that yes, we have this Substack, and there's tons of writing on there with some illustrations, and sketches. Some are more finished than others. And we could, turn those into zine pages like we did here in the back of Turbo Teaser 2. Like, here's a great example of a zine page,
yeah.
and without too much text. And then here's examples of zine pages with tons of text. So you really
Yeah,
could get immersed in reading,
man.
and these don't take too long. I love laying these things out. I've been doing these, I was a page layout guy professionally, but nothing's more fun than doing it for comic. And I don't know if I ever told you, Kurt, about that anecdote where I was working overnights at Kinko's. This is when I was still like I think I was out of school, but I was working on my comic portfolio, trying to get better, and I was working overnights at Kinko's, and I got hired at this adult newsprint weekly called
What?
Hot Press. And
What?
if you remember, like Screw magazine and all those like
Yeah.
cheaply made, like tawdry newsprint, publications that were coming out in New York City, and I don't think they were distributed, much farther than that. But I quit my job at Kinko's, and the day I was going to show up on Monday morning for my first day, I was supposed to be doing
Oh.
page layout with like dirty stuff, and they called me on the Sunday, and they said that because of the rivalry between the different magazines, that they lost distribution. The distributor, like the I guess it was Screw magazine or whoever was the number one in the genre, made an ultimatum to the distributor: if you carry them, then you're going to lose our business. And so they
Oh
dropped
man.
those guys,
Ugh.
and they were pretty much gone
Ugh.
after that. But what could have been, who knows if I would have went into that weird world. But page layout is, it's not unusual for people to pay the bills doing page layout for a magazine. You did it for quite a long time, right? And
Yep.
I also did an autograph catalog for 10 years. Just doing copy fitting, scanning and retouching pictures, etc., and making nice pages. And finally here you can do it with something a little more fun. I mean, I don't know what you think about what fun is, but yeah. So I don't. Let's move on. Let's leave it
Well,
there. I
I just
think.
want to.
Yeah.
Let me just add one more element to it, or at least why I'm considering this and trying to propose it is I am my steady diet of YouTube channels, including this is Alex Turbin's channel and Dan Um, Snoke's Rave Sensation. They're at the top of my channels, but there's a couple of other channels that are starting to really pop up and do some really good content. But they're really taking the zine approach. And so I've been watching a lot of these. There was one that's it was out in Ohio. I think it's Ohio at a big library that I think the Billy Ireland cartooning collection is held, and it's the C2C, I think, or something like that. And so that was like this guy went and met a whole bunch of people, and I think Dan Klaus, no, Dan Klaus, yeah, Dan Klaus was there. Charles Burns, I think, was just releasing
Yeah, he's got
his new
some
book.
new out.
Yeah, but Dan from Rave Sensation and I went to SPX. I've met some people. Some of the material I picked up was, I guess you consider it zine material.
That's a Baltimore con for
print on your
people
own.
that don't know what he's talking about.
Well, it's not Baltimore Con. It's Baltimore
Oh,
Con's
it's
the
not in
following
Baltimore.
week. It is no, it's outside of
Oh, but it's
DC.
in
It's
Baltimore, right?
Bethesda. No, it's in Bethesda. so, um, so it's I'm and then of course I'm working on the Crom anthology. So I'm kind of taking notes on how to fill something with some entertainment. There's one thing to say, okay, I'm making a comic book. That's great. That's what we're doing. I'm not trying to derail us. But at the same time, is there a way to constantly keep material out, especially since we only meet every Sunday to work on something? And the teasers, there's some success in that, definitely for the exchange with other artists, creators. But could it be a little bit more substantial? Could it be Doom Magazine's numbered, coming out 3 times a year, and then there would still even be, as we collected pages, issue 1 of Turbo Pit Fighter, issue 2 of Turbo Pit Fighter, just kind of moving along the way. That's all I want to leave it at. That's that.
Yeah, I like the idea of putting out Doom magazines where there's combination of sequential art and writing that's presented in zine pages, maybe some pin-up page sections, and if we want to strike deals with other creators and run their segments. So yeah, all that's great. I just wonder if we should serialize Turbo or keep it like an accumulating building thing time after time. I'm not sure that
Okay.
final decision. So we
Okay.
might just put in the 6 new pages, and that would be cool. But um, all those options lay ahead in the months to come. So that ought to be fun. Um,
All
I
right.
just I was just reminded, because we are such a product. I don't have any paid TV channels right now, and we have Netflix in my house, but every time I go to use it, it's like my wife or my 2 daughters are using it, so I can never, I don't ever have the privileges. I did see, I did go to Peacock last night, and I guess Peacock has some movies for free. And I watched The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling, big action movie, kind of campy, but um, what I do is I end up on YouTube a lot, because
Yep.
YouTube has a lot of content where it's stuff like we're putting out and other YouTubers, and you know and there's this algorithm. There's this all important algorithm, and as soon as you open up YouTube, you go onto this landing page, and your landing page you know is designed to be what you're going to be watching. Like they've figured out your habits, and I'm not telling anybody anything new here, but it is a very high percentage. They found something that they think you're likely to click on and watch, and it really does work.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it's interesting to see what is in your YouTube feed, because if you do that reliably, then they'll just stay the course, and then they might even try to sprinkle in things that they want to push on you, like in the lower corner or something. But if you're fickle and you're like, no, I'm putting in search terms, I'm looking for my own stuff, then it's still in learning mode, because you do have to sign it with a profile and everything. um so what they gave me, so it's funny to hear that they're giving you like these kind of like homegrown indie uh comic review podcasts like Alex Turbin. um Alex did show up for the first time in my feed, but it wasn't on like the first page. It was like after I watched something, and they're trying to hold me, like for to watch something
Suggestion.
else. Yeah, and then something else in it. So then, and maybe I was scrolling to the left, maybe you're scrolling down, or scrolling to the right. But I finally saw Alex Turbin in my feed, and which was weird because I hadn't seen Alex Turbin, and it wasn't our interview. So that's interesting. But what I've been getting in my feed are these, um, and I don't want to say it's not the comics tropes guy. It's guys like the comic tropes guy, but it's like a new one every time, right? They don't keep feeding me the same guy, and I like comic tropes guy. He does a great job of breaking things
Chris.
down, telling
His
you like
name's
a whole
Chris.
long history. Yeah, I mean he can really get into a subject. He can really get into a subject and really do justice. But I'm getting these other ones, and the one I saw last night was the first one in my feed, and I clicked on it. Was well, they had all these weird like sexual or innuendo panels in comics, and this person had like collected like 300 panels, and it's like where Batman and Robin are like behind each other on a motorcycle, and their dialogue is way too weird to be coincidental. You think some of these are inside jokes. There's this romance comic, and they showed you like maybe like the whole thing, because it was like, oh, I'm so brokenhearted about Dick. He, like I want Dick so bad, and it's like, yeah, I get it. I get the joke.
I
There's a
miss
guy named,
Dick.
but this is probably like 1962 or maybe even earlier, and it's those great Roy Lichtenstein type panels,
Oh
where the
yeah,
woman
yeah,
is
yeah.
in total consternation. But I mean, it does make you laugh, just in today's context, to be like, oh my god, how can they let that go to print? Was that an inside joke at the time? Like, um, so there was that YouTuber, and then the next day it's somebody different, and it's like, I'm going to give you the top 10 listicle of nudity in comics. Excuse me. So I'm like, all right, they got me pegged for like somebody that wants to see like dirty comics, but they're just going from what you saw last time to what they still have available in store, and they're just trying to give you something. I mean, it's really an amazing service, and of course YouTube is run by Google, and so they have all their analytics and AI working to try to figure out all this stuff. They some people monetize, some people don't. So if you click the link, you might see an ad or two, or sometimes it just plays. But it's amazing. Like, comics are leaping off the page into the digital world, and there's going to be a whole generation of people that never see the printed page. They're just going to be like, oh, I know this was printed one day, but that's not how we're appreciating it anymore. And it's that I
Yeah.
find that really interesting too, because comics look really nice on a big flat screen, and it really
Look
works.
look
I
nice, look nice,
Yeah.
but feel weird to me. Like
Y-
it's not.
y-
I don't know if I could ever just completely be totally reliant on digesting my sequential art, if you will, just digitally. I mean, I buy between eBay save searches, Matt King, and Instagram and YouTube channels. Like right now, I'm gonna cool it down. I'm not getting anything until like maybe something. I'll get myself something for Christmas. But I had to turn the faucets off, man, because it's
No,
just getting
yeah,
ridiculous.
no longer
Yeah, it's just
acquisition mode.
ridiculous because yeah, but I'm just endorsing that. You show me something that I've either never seen, before, seen or heard before, or I've heard about it. I just never seen the insides, and there's nothing on the internet about it. And you're flipping through it, and you catch me on page one on that turn where that splash, is just really well black and white, got a newsprint. You know what I mean? Like, all right, let me find this damn thing. And I'd spend, days, weeks, whatever it is, trying to get a hold of it. But right now, I'm not doing that. But I'm not. I'm not.
Well, you're
I'm
a dying
not.
breed. So am I. We're both a
Thank
dying
you.
breed. As far as YouTube is concerned, right? I mean,
Dying breed.
they want people to watch on screens, and they
Oh
could be
yeah.
big or they could be big or small. They're just trying to figure out what's going to get you that next ad. And but there's a give and take there, and there's a lot of material being covered, and I'm still amazed. Sometimes I get these haul videos, right? Like, look what I found. And there's this Asian guy who's like, he's just thinking out loud. He's like, oh, I don't like to spend more than $400, but I went to the sale in my town, and they had brought like 20 boxes up from the basement, and then he shows like, wow, something was, it was all $1, and he bought like 250 like comics, and he showed like he did get like some stuff that slipped through, and he was just highlighting it. He was so proud of his haul, but he was buying like good Marvels, 70s, 80s, 90s, different runs. George Perez, Teen Titans, like a run of 10 dollar piece, good prices, really good condition. So I'm watching all these videos. There's the collectors, there's the people that go over stories, there's the ones that try to present new material that you might not know about, the indie stuff. And it's a good thing. It's I don't know where where it's going, because there's probably a limited amount of videos that are being made, and if we're having the same conversation like 2 years from now, I don't know if they're still gonna be able to provide me with links every day every time I log in with this kind of stuff. But um it's interesting to see, because I'm a history buff, and I'm a little bit of a collector. I'm not an expensive collector, but I'm always got my eyes out for the indie stuff. And we have our own podcast, so we're trying to stay on top of the scene, and who's out there doing new stuff, and who's got the cool old stuff. So combination of a lot of those things. um right, I mean, Kurt and I were talking offline before we started about this artist I found. um he's like a mentor of a guy I'm talking with named JP Torres, or Johan Paul Torres. And really can't praise this guy enough. I really fell in love with his work. If you go on Instagram.com, he's Amadeus_Allen. But if you just want to look him up on Google, look up Alan Patrick, and he's on the comic fan art page. And I have not found an artist that combines such good kind of like composition and draftsmanship. I found a little bit of Neil Adams in his work, and Adam Hughes in his work, and Bernie Wrightson in his work. He's got these great wraparound compositions. So if you guys want to look up a cool artist, look up Alan Patrick. He apparently he just does like commissions, but his pencils are great, and he's got some stuff that's inked and colored, and sometimes he does like this cartoony style with like more like Bruce Timm style stuff. But I'm just like learning from his examples, because he's got these great contour, directional hatching, curved lines. I haven't seen since Alfredo Alcala or Rudy Nebres, and it's just so nice to come across a good artist that you have never seen before. And I wish the guy all the luck in the world. He's got some commission sites where he charges a couple $100, but I was just an instant fan. And I'm showing this to Kurt last night, and I emailed him, I'm like, check this dude out. So um, if we were doing the old way, maybe Kurt would pop up some examples of his art. But I know for people that are watching us on Instagram, I call it Finstagram, because we only see one little sliver of both of our drawing areas. You can go onto YouTube and see the whole drawing area. But yeah, click over and see his stuff. And maybe somebody would even want to, get some of his art. There's plenty of his art for sale on Comic Art Fans. Good stuff. He does some great Red Sonjas, and he's got Batman, Batgirl. He's got Moon Knight. I think some of these are maybe Kurt knows better than me, but everybody's doing like these superhero versions of like evil bear character. I don't know what that's all about. It's like some evil honey bear guy. What is it called?
I don't know. I don't know. I think it has some reference to Winnie the Pooh, though. I have been noticing some strange
I know.
Morphing of,
I don't know if it's that. There might be some other like bear character like Berenstein or something. But Winnie the Pooh did go public domain, and there's a horrible horror movie made, a horrible movie called Blood and Honey, which I actually watched. And I don't know if this is an offshoot of that, but I think there's this other series, because my students sometimes allude to it, about this horror show about the bear something. Young people are probably laughing at us right now, but
laughing at you.
Mr. Bear. What's it?
Laughing at you. I'm not. I have no idea what you're talking about, so I'm not trying to distance myself, but I don't want people thinking that you and I sit there texting each other like, what the hell is this bear? Is this we do have other things to be doing, so.
Right. Well, there's some popular bear character that's making the rounds. I'll ask my seventh grade.
Yeah, please give us an update.
Full report next week.
Thank you.
I have a new topic. I don't know if you want to bring something up, but I have a new topic because I saw a B movie, and it is a B movie. I don't know if you saw or not. It was based on a Frank Frazetta poster. So let me know if you've ever seen Luana. Have you ever seen Luana? And
the poster. The poster.
Oh, you saw the poster.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, the poster's amazing. It shows this kind of like jungle female who is surrounded by wild animals, and she commands them at her beck and call. But the movie, I watched the whole thing. Oh my God. The perfect example of a poster that became a movie, and the movie, just doesn't hold a candle to the poster. I would love to know the story.
Well, the whole entire budget went to Frank Frazetta. Frank's never been cheap. I mean, that's, he's getting top freaking dollar and ownership rights of the image. So he could reappropriate that image of his. He could make 1,000 jungle posters for movies just off of that image he generated. So he was super savvy when all that came through. So
yeah, well,
I think there's a comic that's using that poster art.
Right. Well, if it was a movie, I'm not sure who gets the rights. I don't think the Frazetta girls have come out with a Luana comic, but.
No, not a Luana comic. Not a Luana comic. A jungle comic using the image. Yeah. So he paints a girl generically with a bunch of tigers and lions and wolves and running through the thing. He gets paid for the commission of it, and they license the image for Luana. So then the only thing that doesn't happen is he can't do his own Luana movie poster and movie. That's the only thing that he would. That's what I'm guessing, because like I said, I have heard some like really savage business tactics that the Frazettas used. His wife Ellie was really the captain of that ship. So
Right. Well, I know the family is definitely capitalizing, and it's great to see that his granddaughters are so into it. They're posting these, very informative historical YouTube videos with explainer videos, but they also came out with we've spoken about this with a deal with Opus Comics to put out to turn his characters into continuing titles, and Death Dealer being the most obvious. I had a copy in our last Comics That Influence. He's also doing Dawn Attack, and there was a series called Jungle God, or a Jaguar God, which was Glenn Danzig in print
Veronica,
from like 20 years ago.
Simon
It was
Beasley, Mitch
it was based
Bird,
on some, and he
Liam
hired
Sharp.
right, and he did hire Frazetta when Frazetta was still alive. Danzig did, and I think they put out a coffee table book of just like rough sketches and other stuff. But
No,
you got Frank
penciled.
Frazetta's
He
Death Dealer, you
commissioned.
got Frank Frazetta's Dawn Attack.
Hello.
He commissioned Frazetta, sure.
Pencil drawings.
But yeah, he commit right. I remember. I don't think I bought it, but I think I flipped through it at the time.
Oh, I still have
it.
Mine.
Was
Ooh, yeah.
It was called Verotic Comics. But yeah, Frazetta, the Frazetta verse now has Death Dealer, I know, and Dawn Attack, and then I think they're also doing Mothman comics now too. And then they have this Tales of Science Fantasy, which I'm not sure what that is, but they're hiring pretty good artists, and they're trying to make all these characters come alive, and just keep the love going. They do print a lot of full color Frazetta pinups in the books, which is nice, just to kind of round them out. And they're finding some good artists that like to work in the style of Frank Frazetta. And I think maybe the best one is the art in Fire and Ice that I've seen. Because when you flip open a Death Dealer, it's like it's okay, but the artist that they got to do for the 2 issues of Fire and Ice that I picked up has been the best I've seen so far. So yeah, the world goes on, and it's a great example of characters living on after the artist is gone, and it doesn't even need to be fleshed out comics. It could just be these iconic paintings. You know what I mean?
So the big reason they're doing it is to keep the copyright. That's the biggest thing that you have to do, is maintain that copyright. So getting those materials out there is very important. The second thing is, and there's been rumors around Fire and Ice alone between Ralph Bakshi, Roger Rodriguez, a live action movie, another animation, so on and so forth. So if you keep pumping product out there, and you are absolutely right, Jake, when you showed off those Fire and Ice issues, I was completely bowled over, because it was a solid mass of talent, reflecting the solid mass of talent Frank Frazetta had. And so if you're piping that out and people are really picking up on it, and the sales numbers come back and say to a producer, an animation or movie producer, hey, look, our circulation is over 100,000 in the US alone, and we've been able to get it translated into French, German, and Japanese, and we're getting up around another 100,000. That's going to perk a producer's ears and go, how much would it cost to
Well,
do a 20-minute animation? Oh, let's find out. Let's crush the numbers. Blah 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 blah. That's I
right.
think the second reason for keeping it alive. But the third reason is he's a cash grab. He's easy. His work is otherworldly awesome. There's nobody like him. There's nobody, and there's gonna be nobody like him. One of a
Right, but
kind. Frank
there's
said
only so
everybody.
many. Yeah, but there's only so many like times you're going to get the buyer to buy a comic with a Frazetta cover and the insides
Generational,
aren't.
you're still dealing with generational. We just went through the whole thing. Younger generation is stuck in their TV screens, which are on phones and iPads.
Well, I don't know.
But if it
I
gets
highly
down to
doubt that.
something,
I wonder what the numbers are on something like Death Dealer Fire and Ice. I want 100,000 sounds high. That sounds like the
I
top
agree.
selling comic
I'm just throwing. Yeah,
on any given month. And I also don't think the studios care so much about comic sales. We've seen a lot of low sale properties become movies. I think it's whether they like the property and how easy or hard it would be to get off the ground. As far as budgeting a movie. But they are definitely looking at in the comics world, and the other thing about Frank Frazetta is that the family would not come cheap, to structure back end and all that, and they might be better off with a public domain character or something they could get cheap, like the Crow from James O'Barr. They just bought him out for low six figures, and then now they own the whole thing, and they're coming out with a third movie any day now. So it's an interesting thing. Copyright is it can be a blessing for future generations to just make money while you sleep. All you gotta do is keep some old things in print, and and have your lawyers watching that nobody's ripping you off and stuff. But it could also be a burden, right? And it depends.
It's true.
It also depends how far you want to take it. I mean, if my kids want to do Turbo I highly doubt that's going to happen. I'd probably be better off leaving it to my nephew. But whoever, whatever heights we hit, the idea could stick around. And sometimes, sometimes it's in the creator's best interest to let it go public domain and make that announcement.
Well, that's why I'm doing Crom the Barbarian. It's exactly why I'm doing Crom the Barbarian, because now and right. just to do a little shout out here about Crom the Barbarian. Just finished reading Christopher Mills, The Mighty Crom. This is 2018, 2020. So finally chased that down. I'm actually going to be talking to the artist Jim Gullett. And for these Crom the Barbarians. And then, of course, I've been having one-on-ones with everybody in, Brutal Blade of Crom. The thing I love the most about it is I don't have to play the game of trying to control not only the character, but the direction of the character. Like, I have a call for collaboration, but that call for collaboration is on multiple levels. I mean, the highest level, I guess some people would perceive, would be like, oh, I'd love to work with Kurt because he's so XYZ, talented, connected. He's got a book, book and everything to that extent. But when it's all said and done, everybody controls what they contributed and made to the Crom universe. And then it just keeps going and going. So the whole reason for me putting this together is I call it a sandbox. It's like a player's hand guide. If you really wanted to pick something up, pick this up, read it through and through, and start taking everything you want from it and doing your own version of Crom. That's exactly what
Right.
I want. And I think it is very much the future of creative IPs because you said it just a minute ago. It costs a lot of money and energy to protect things. And if you don't have the economic means to hire not only attorneys, but you have to hire the data equipment to scrape the internet looking for people who are using images. And so I mean it's a job
Right.
in amongst itself.
You can imagine at Marvel and DC, they probably have compliance offices or
Holy
maybe it's
crap,
one
yeah.
person or a couple of young
Yeah.
lawyers and everything, and they come in every Monday morning at 9 a.m. I'm like, all right, who are we going to go after? Because where do we even start? I mean, there's you can go. I mean, they probably don't want to mess with like artists that are just violating your copyright and doing commissions and selling prints. Like selling original art, I think that's pretty okay. But
Did you hear about what they did? I think it was DC did it at San Diego Con. They had people have leaflets, and they went to all the people in Artist Alley that had their characters as prints, and it was a "Hi, how you doing? Stop doing this." That's all it said.
oh
It's like from DC. Oh yeah, they're shutting down the whole fan art thing. That seems. I mean,
well,
DC is.
it's not
So,
shutting down fan art. It's shutting down duplication of it. That's where they can get you. It's not against the law to draw a popular character and keep it in your
but that's
drawer,
one for
or
one.
give it
It's
to your
like a
friend, or selling it is also, if it's a commission. Well, they asked me for Daredevil, I drew Daredevil. But running off prints, right, that and
yeah
without getting permission from
reproduction.
Marvel.
Yep, yep.
Right, and and the people that work for Marvel, they get permission. They can okay some of these projects, portfolio sets, and whatever, you know. But and some, and there's probably a lot of great stories about the ones that were denied and why you're being assholes, that you burning your bridges, all that kind of stuff. Um,
They've
but
already done
it,
that, haven't they?
but it's very interesting to hear Kurt say this, that at the last you were at a con and they were handing out warning
No,
letters.
I wasn't. I wasn't at it. I heard the news somewhere. It was a
Uh,
passing piece of news, and it said that representatives from, I believe it was DC, were handing out cease and desist orders.
right.
So,
I mean, it's
but
like
nothing has ever come from it. It could have just been it could have been a hoax. It could have been somebody doing their own, trying to stir up their own news for their YouTube podcast. You know what I mean? I never
uh-huh.
verified anything. I just thought it was interesting that a major corporation can just hire a bunch of people, at $100 a day and hand them a stack of leaflets, or one person. I mean, they just have to go through the damn show and hand
Well,
them out. But
Marvel is so big. I mean, Marvel's also Disney now too. So who knows? What resources they bring to bear on a daily or weekly basis on all their. I mean, not just counterfeiting. And counterfeiting is the obvious thing. If somebody's selling T-shirts in a store or on an online store or on a towel in the streets, or maybe they do raids and they find a whole tractor trailer full of Mickey Mouse T-shirts. That kind of stuff's always been going on. But it's a little different with Marvel because your fan base is also keeping you going. It's also sustaining you. And there's an interesting analog in the music industry, because anybody knows that when you do these like record shows, and there's always like a dealer that's selling some bootleg videos and stuff. Everybody
yeah,
knows that
yeah.
everyone knows like who the worst enforcer is in the music industry. It's not Metallica, it's Kiss, it's Gene Simmons.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
he will go after anybody anytime, and there have been raids where he's just like collected Kiss bootleg collectibles and stuff, and just round it all up, and perp walk people. So all these things are possible, but you can easily just Google a list of public domain characters if you want to steer clear of this, because anything that was made before 1928 is free and clear now, and you just have to, watch P's and Q's about maybe, iterations that are still copyrighted later of that character. But if you do the old, just, anything earlier than 28, when Steamboat Willie first came out, is it's free and clear now. So if you're not sure what to work on and you like to work on creative stuff, whether it's writing, comics, pinups, you want to make some beach towels, it doesn't matter. You can, there's hundreds and hundreds of, or maybe even, thousands of, things to rediscover, some better than others, but, really, something like prom, anybody can do it. And, there's, and one day it's going to be all these characters.
So we have passed the 45-minute mark, and we do have an interview we need to get prepared for. We have Michael Jasorka coming back. We had Michael on before.
He was the Castle Dracula guy from.
Yeah, man! It was that, and then this sweet piece of multimedia where there was an interview of the incident, the what actually transpired by the individual that he illustrates, and he actually incorporates a CD. But we're going to be talking, and these are two older stories, and man, I cannot wait to get into it with him, because both of these are completely fascinating. But this is about the art on a pinball machine from 1981, which was done in black and white to help people focus in on their game when they were going into pinball arcades. And the two characters, the centaur, and I forget her name, I apologize, but they go through, this really cool story and stuff. So we got that. We also have coming up, we still have Pescatori, TC Pescatori, and Loco Gonzalez for Junction Jones. Finally was able to get John Burkett to come on board, so he's on our list. And where is? Oh yeah, did you get your box full of David Moses Joy?
Yes, we got a whole bunch of zines.
Oh my Lord! So David really slammed us, as well as J.K. Papers. Nathaniel J.K. Papers is also on the list for our Indie Creator Exchange. So really excited. We're also, I just want to keep people aware that we're going to be winding down because the holidays are just really screwy and squirrely, and trying to maintain Sundays for people. And it's completely understandable. So, we try to just kind of back up and wait till January to put that in. But we'll try to get a couple more into November, but we'll be, we'll call it a year, probably about mid-November. But other than that, Jake, wow, really enjoying this going live, because I don't have to edit. So the video goes up.
No, you don't have to edit. We do lose those graphics that you put on. So I totally neglected to show you my latest sketches, but I am going to do a big reveal right now. And I've worked on a sketch. This is going to be a storyline that I've been writing, where it's the siege at Reen Paw's farm. Her niece is Wee Lou. She's like a kung fu girl, and they're devotees of Esoterra. I haven't quite finished the sketch, but this is kind of like a montage of. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. This is a montage that I've been doing of Wee Lou and the bad guy, who's going to be called the Moose. There's her grandma, Reen Paw, and then the giant octopus, which is a huge projection above the Philadelphia protests. So I think it's coming out pretty nice. I'm almost done with it. It's just pencils, blue line pencil, then regular pencils, and I've been working on this Wee Lou character. So there's another sketch of her I wanted to show you right here. I'm working on a sketch of Grandma who's fortifying her farmhouse because they're going to be coming after her. And so this is kind of like a war that happens in the era of Esoterra, and it's between here's Wee Lou right here. Ooh, how do I center this? Okay. And I think this is coming up pretty nice. She's got a pretty simple kind of like
I
round
like that.
top, and she's
I
got
like that.
she's got this spike that she uses. So she's like a kind of like a kung fu practitioner, but she's also learning to manipulate, manipulate matter and energy by studying the formulas of Esoterra. And Esoterra
Cool.
will visit her on her deathbed, but that's a story for another day. Um,
All right.
there's going to be some chapters of this story that I'm going to be sending to you, and it's going to be centered around this large protest of the Dehuberdins that takes place, and how they're just hiring mercenaries to go after critics and stuff.
All right. All exciting stuff. Great episode, and always looking forward to hanging out with you on Sundays. But that's all I got. Let these people get back to reading comics, making them if they choose.
All right, everybody. See you in the funny papers.